Everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday, April 29th work session of our
County Board of Commissioners. At this time, I will call the meeting to order and ask Commissioner Barb McCoy to lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us bow our heads, please. Our Father, we thank you for another day. And we thank you for all your blessings and your mercy and your grace. We ask that you continue to cover us and cover us in a way that we here as serving the county, members of this board, give us the strength, the wisdom, and the knowledge to make the right decisions for this county as well as for the people of this county. This is my prayer. Amen.
Okay, we'll consider any additions and deletions to the published agenda.
Move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second to move as the agenda is published. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries unanimous. Okay, at this time, we will go over the proposed zoning change for Plan 2503-0001. Please note that action may be taken on this item.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Sarah Arbor, Hardin County Development Services. And if it is a pleasure of the board, I can go through and present this rezoning case, which was presented on our last regular meeting.
Do the commissioners need a refresher or to be briefed on this?
Yeah, I do. Give me a little refresher.
Okay, absolutely, sure. So this is a property which is changing the zoning from the RA20R to the commercial. The applicant is Mr. Chan Ho. The property is approximately 1.19 acres located in the Barbecue Township off of Sebo Rosser Road and NC 87. The property is surrounded by commercial and residential land uses. Residential land uses located to the north and to the west, and commercial to the south and the east predominantly. A little bit of background about this property: there was previously a single-family residence which was located on the property up until about the end of 2024, where it was removed or demolished. There's water and sewer which is available for the site. So we'll take a look at the zoning district compatibility map. You can see the property is surrounded by RA20R zoning, as well as commercial to the south and the west and to the east. Next, we'll take a look at the land use classification compatibility. You can see this property is located in a rural center development node. This is a land use classification which does support commercial land uses. There's been several photos of the site provided for your review, both taken from Sebo Rosser Road as well as NC 87. So as staff moved through our evaluation, we were able to answer everything in the affirmative. Staff found that the request was compatible with the underlying land use, and staff is recommending approval. So at the April 7th planning board meeting, the planning board voted 5-0 to recommend approval of this rezoning. We did have one resident who spoke out. They were not necessarily in opposition. However, they did have questions about the intended use if the property were to be zoned commercial, and those questions were directed to the applicant. So staff is open for any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions, comments for staff?
You don't have anybody in opposition, right?
No, ma'am. There's nobody in opposition, but they did have questions for the applicant. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I do not believe this requested change to commercial is
reasonable based on the residential uses which surrounds this property, especially to the north, and I would make a motion to deny.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to deny the proposed zoning change. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The denial carries unanimously, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Thank you very much. This time, we will go over the Harnett Horizons 2040 Comprehensive Plan. Please note that action may be taken on this item as well.
Very similar to the situation that we just went through with that. We've presented the comprehensive growth plan multiple times, met with you all, met with planning board. I know we had our public hearing at the last meeting on Monday. I'm open for any questions that you may have on it. I feel like we've probably discussed it ad nauseum at this point, and I know that it was we're waiting for Commissioner Jaggers to be in place, so I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the comprehensive land use plan as it stands.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the comprehensive land use plan. Is there any further discussion?
I just like to say thank you for your work. Y'all really put a lot of time, and I like your involvement with the other entities and people that you talk with to getting their inputs.
I appreciate that.
I just want to say a long time coming.
Yeah. We'll do it again in a couple more years, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we will discuss the fluoridation of county water. Please note that action may be taken on this item.
Mr. Chairman, we have been through this with a gaggle of people coming up offering their opinions. Our health department has offered its opinion, and there's still a lot of data out there that we haven't looked at. What I'm going to do, I'll put this in the form of a motion that we table this indefinitely until we have a chance to look at it in more.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to table this item. Is there any further discussion?
I just like to I think there's more information we need to get and make sure just get some more information for sure.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously, Madam Clerk. Thank you.
I just want to say I'm not opposed to you tabling it. Thank you.
Pardon?
I want to thank you for tabling it, because we need more information before you make a decision that's going to affect the health of our citizens in this county. So I say thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we'll discuss Harnett Regional Water Capital Improvement Plan. Mr. Tommy Burns, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tommy Burns, Harnett Regional Water. You have before you the capital improvement plan for Harnett Regional Water. This is a 10-year snapshot of where we feel like Harnett Regional Water will progress in its capital improvement projects. Today I wanted to spend primarily time on the first three columns of that spreadsheet that's towards the back of that report. As you know, we're facing tremendous growth in our county and within our regional partnership areas. And so we have developed a number of projects that carry out over the next 10 years to address some of that. Primarily what you will see in this document is the first 3 years of this program are fairly robust, and then it starts to taper down in the subsequent years. So what I would like to do is, one, go through the first column for the 25-26 capital and go top to bottom from the projects, the revenues, the debt summary, and then how that would affect our water and sewer rates. So if you'll see, the first column is our North Harnett wastewater treatment plant upgrade project. That project is ongoing. You just approved a change order last meeting for us on that. That's a multi-year project that we anticipate about 2 more years of construction on. Current construction cost on that is $111,376,000. Next project is our Southwest wastewater pump station in Force Main. That's the project that we refer to as the Highway 87 project. That project is estimated at $11.5 million. Right now, that project is waiting on federal easements. That's really the only holdup in getting that project moving forward. We've had some conversations with our contacts at Fort Bragg, and we think there's a little progress, but we may need a little push to get those easements done, because that's really the only thing holding that project up right now. And again, that's a force main upgrade along Highway 87 that'll alleviate some of the flow in that Ray Road area of the county. And again, that's projected at $11.5 million. Irwin St. Matthews Utility Road Extension, $1.77 million. That project is currently under construction. Irwin Downtown Utility Project, $526,000. The engineer's been selected and design will begin shortly on that. The same for the Old Hamilton Road water extension project. That one's budgeted about $1.6 million, and the engineer's been selected on that as well. Our Wake County distribution upgrade, our current estimated cost projection is $22.65 million on that. We've got some partners in that, and I'll discuss that a little bit in just a second. We talk about the revenues and how we're going to pay for some of these projects. So in 25-26, we're presently at $149 million in capital projects. If you'll go straight down and follow that first column down under revenues, we've got $28.3 million in grant sources to pay for that. We've got anticipated contributions from our regional partners of $15.8 million is estimated from Holly Springs, and that's based on the estimated construction, not the actual construction cost. Our North Harnett Regional Wastewater Plant upgrade, $42 million from Fuquay-Varina, $15.4 million from Anger, $6.1 million from the town of Lillington, and then Harnett Regional Reserves of $41.5 million for those first-year projects. So if you'll continue on down, you'll notice that there's no planned new debt in 25-26 for those projects, and there's no planned changes in both water and sewer rates for our residential and for our bulk customers. If you'll continue over to the second column back at the top of the page, the BCC collection system upgrade, that's estimated at $10.8 million. That is the planned upgrade from Boys Creek to Coates, and some force main and pump station upgrades. Representative Penny was able to get the county some funding for that. That project, right now, we have a preliminary engineering report that's out for proposals, and that should be back shortly, and we'll get the design and engineering going on that. Our PFAS project, as you're aware, we presently have a pilot study going on at the wastewater plant that was funded by some state grants, and we're looking at several different treatment options to handle PFAS. Once that pilot project is completed, then the engineer will come back with a recommendation on what we need to, upfit at our plant to treat that. That's estimated on the low end at $80 million. It could be as much as $120 million, based on whether we use a granular activated carbon or ionic exchange type treatment. So just keep that in mind as we talk about our debt schedule and our revenue bonds and so forth. We also have a planned project of $6 million for some Northwest water rehabilitation projects. Those are replacing some lines like along Harnett Central Road and some areas along 401, and that's estimated at $6 million. 96.7 million is where we think we land in 26-27. 15.7 million of that is from grants. We anticipate state revolving loans of $50 million, then that's included in our debt issuance for that year, and then Harnett Regional Reserves of $31 million to pay for that. If you'll continue down that same second column under debt summary, you'll see where we plan to issue $50 million in state revolving fund loan debt to fund that. And again, 26-27, there are no anticipated changes to rates for both water, residential customers and bulk customers. And then the third column is the one I wanted to spend the rest of our time on discussing. We have one planned project in 27-28, but it's a fairly big ask. That's $120 million for a Northeast Harnett Regional Water Treatment Plant. We anticipate that would be located in the town of Irwin area. If you go follow that on down to the revenue lines, we anticipate $30 million in revenue bonds, state revolving loans in the amount of $30 million, and regional entity participation is estimated at $40 million for that. And that includes $20 million in Harnett Regional Water Reserves for $120 million total. So, and then following that line on down, the new debt issuance for 27-28 would be $60 million. If you follow that on down to the planned rate increases, there are rate increases for 27-28 plan, where the residential rates would go to $24 a minimum, $6 for the 1,000-gallon above minimum, and then bulk increases to $3.15 and to $3.50 for some of our bulk customers. So you can see it's a fairly robust plan. But I think it's needed from the standpoint of keeping our system upgraded and keeping it planned and poised to accept the growth that's coming. And it's going to take all of our help. And in the interest of time, I won't go through the rest of our CIP, but we update this every year and forecast out for the next 10 years. So this is a document that'll be included in our budget this year that you adopt every year as part of our capital improvement plan. And this just gives us sort of a guidepost to move forward and plan these projects accordingly. We have to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from Mr. Burns?
I have one question,
Yes.
maybe two. Tell me again how much PFAS is in our water, because I don't like to document that and keep a track on that.
Well, there's PFAS present in a lot of the water along the Cape Fear.
I know.
Our mandate is going to be to treat to 4 parts per trillion maximum contaminant level.
Okay.
So that's a 2028, 2029 standard.
Well, I just don't want us to get in the position that down the river, Cumberland County had with the PFAS. And all of these, this money, do you know right now how much we're going to get from the federal government, or just going to be all on the county?
We're not planning for any. We're not planning for any for PFAS.
Okay, not for PFAS.
For all of it.
For all these projects here.
We've budgeted some, but again, that would be, we'd have to apply for it and just see where we land.
So you're going to apply for it as you go?
Yes.
At each project?
Yeah. Right now, Harnett Regional Water has very little debt, so we're very proud of that.
Okay. I understand that they don't have very little debt. I'm proud of them. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from Mr. Burns? Thank you very much, sir.
All right.
Now, when will we need to approve the CIP or?
The CIP will approve as part of the budget process in June.
All right, outstanding.
You'll see it in the budget document.
Thank you. Discuss Harnett Regional Water System Development and TAP fees. Mr. Burns, you're up again,
Thank
sir.
you. Back in December, Mr. Byrd presented to you some information on our system development fees. You had asked us again to kind of expand on that some further. And I thought what I would do is just give you a brief history of how SDFs were established and how the process we have to go through in order to set those SDF fees. But the purpose of SDF fees is to the extent practical, assign financial impacts to our system to those using the system and those creating the impacts. Legally, this was established back in 2017 under House Bill 436. That gave counties the statutory authority to impose system development fees. But you can't just arbitrarily set those fees. We have to go through a financial analysis in order to come up with what a maximum SDF fee should be based on our debt load, based on our system impacts. And back in 2023, the County Board of Commissioners commissioned a financial services company, Willdan, to come in and do that. At that time, they recommended that our SDF fees be set at $38.50 for water and $43.50 for sewer. And the commissioners at that point elected to adopt $3,000 for water and $4,000 for sewer. which is based on there's three methods that you can assess SDF fees: the buy-in method, the incremental marginal cost method, and the combined cost method. And Harnett Regional chose to do the buy-in method, which they pay once the system impact is created. We're required every 5 years to update this. However, some of you had indicated that you wanted to have additional discussions about that, and so basically we're here to answer any questions that you may have. We do have Willdan. We met with them a few weeks back about updating this 2023 study and maybe doing it more frequently than every 5 years, and they're certainly ready to do that if that's the wishes of the Board of Commissioners. And so we'll be happy to answer any questions regarding SDF fees or TAP fees today for you.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, there's one that always comes to mind is the $28,000 2-inch tap. And I think that's a combination of the SDF and the tap fee. If it's a residential tap, we're $6,500. Commercial tap, we're at $28,000, and that looks to me like that's prohibitive to commercial growth. What I'd love to see is bring that back down to where one 2-inch tap's worth one price in both of them. I'd love to see that happen, and then look across the board and see if there's room to cut tap fees at all.
Okay.
Even if it's just a smidgen, because they are expensive. And it's something that everybody pays. Misconception is just the developers pay it. You pay it when you buy the house, so it's passed along. But if you would look at that and bring us something on it.
Any other questions? Comments from Mr. Burns? Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Discuss a request for qualifications for the Animal Adoption Center. Mr. Blevins, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I just want to make one quick comment. First of all, I'd like to thank each of you for your vision and leadership and support for a much-needed animal shelter. You've been in the trenches with us the last few months as far as how far we've come, and I appreciate the efforts of that. We did close on the land last month, so that is now Harnett County's. We're ready to move forward. What we're going to talk about today is the next process as far as hiring an architect and then going out for bid for an RFQ. So this morning I've asked Barry and Brent as well to share their comments about design build versus CMAR, which is construction manager at risk. So I would like for them to add their comments. We're going to make some recommendations so we can get this advertised to move forward, answer any questions that you may have, and then direct us of how you want us to proceed. So again, thank you for all your support and efforts.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. It was a good intro. So generally what we've looked at, and we're ready at this point to start thinking about the RFQ, and we're looking for your guidance. So what we've met with several different contractors and architects just to have discussions about CMAR and design build and which one would be appropriate for this particular project. You know, it's estimated at $10 million. We think it's and we've been advised it can be a complex project because of all the plumbing and those kind of things and the property where it's at. So we've gone round and around to kind of discuss it, and it's really, our recommendation at this point, I believe, is CMAR. And the reason being is that you get an opportunity to speak to an architect, to work hand in hand with that person for the design to begin with. And then when you've reached a certain time of, after you've negotiated and contracted that architect, then you reach out to a CMAR construction manager at risk to partner up with that architect. And the reason it is CMAR for us, in our way of thinking, is that we have an opportunity to be more in touch with that architect. Also, we have in-house folks that will help us with monitoring the construction manager at risk while he's doing his work, he or she. And it seems to be a appropriate way to go. Now, for design build, what you do is you hire one entity, and that entity is the architect and the construction company. And you know, they hire subs the same way that CMAR would. However, in this particular case, we've not done it. The county's not done it as far as I know. And let me go back to CMAR. You know, CMAR is a tried and tested process to build for projects. Has been in use since around 2000, and design and build is fairly new. So it's not that we don't know we wouldn't know how to do design and build, I don't believe, but I think it's a better fit for CMAR. And if you have any questions on it or need to get more in detail, I'd be glad to help, because we've gone through pros and cons on each side of the fence to see which one kind of fits Harnett County in this particular project. I mean, I could give you the pros and cons, but unless you have specific questions.
I think the only thing that I'll add is that we're looking at this project as being a complex project. We want to partner with some other folks in order to make it to be the best animal adoption center that we can make it. And I think this system will allow us to do that, and it does give us a little quicker accomplishment of the task. The CMAR is a little bit faster than just doing a design, bid, build project, which we've done on most of our projects here at the county. So this, I think, is an opportunity. We've seen the school district use this method as well on many of their schools, and so we feel it's time that Harnett County utilize it as well.
I have a question. I want to know exactly, I'm asking, for this community block grant, what is it actually for? Is it just for Hearts or any other community projects in this county?
We're not there.
We're not on that.
Okay, you're not on that. Let me see. Oh, you're on the animal adoption.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I saved that question for you. You know it's coming.
I think we're coming up pretty soon on that one too, aren't we?
Okay.
But you're already ahead of us.
Is there any further questions or comments for Mr. Blevins regarding the Animal Adoption Center?
No, sir. Mr.
No.
Chairman, I recommend we go with the construction manager. Risk we use the school system. Yeah, the only other thing I'll add is, you know, in the last budget, or the current budget that we're in, we had the morgue project. The morgue project is a $550,000 or so project. We are going to do design build, and eventually you'll have to approve that because you have to prove the justification for doing a design build per the general statute. So we bring that forward. We think that's a better way to do that project because it's really a much simpler project related to establishing some concrete block walls and a refrigerated unit inside with the bathroom. And so we think that'll be a way to do a little cost savings and speed that project up as well. So eventually we'll bring the morgue project to you for approval on the design build.
There's no opposition. You can put this on the consent agenda. Go ahead and give staff the recommendation to use the same process the school system uses. No opposition. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Review applications to serve on boards and committees. Mr. Blevins, you're going to have another question to answer here in a second.
Well, I can go ahead and, I would,
I'm kidding.
Mr. Chairman, I would go ahead and make a motion to approve Benjamin Slaughter for the JET board. That's out of my district.
There's no opposition for reappointing Mr. Slaughter for the JET board.
On the consent agenda.
We'll go ahead and put it on the consent agenda for approval next week, Madam Clerk. And you had a question regarding the community block grant, Commissioner McCoy?
Yeah, I certainly do. Mr. Benson, I'm asking that question again on the community block grant. I see that you have an application to serve on that committee. What does that committee do for Harnett County? That's what I want to know, other than funding some funds for Hearts, which I really think is very necessary. Because after serving on the board, what is the board we served on in Sand Hill boards? I understand the need, and I appreciate what Harnett County is doing for the senior citizens of this county. But I want to understand, what does the community block grant do?
So it is I know it's a health grant. It's for the Division of Aging. is provided through Mid-Carolina COG, and every year it's divided up amongst Division of Aging, Transportation, and some other nonprofits. And social service, excuse me.
It's for our elderly nutrition program, our Meals on Wheels, our in-home aid program, and also DSS also has a portion through their in-home aid. And then it has transportation for our seniors to go to the nutrition sites, as well as some other general transportation needs.
And that's important for, as far as hearts. They have to be at the age of 62 or older, and they have to apply for it. And it's general and medical, two different types. And we spin medical down quickly, and we move general into medical in order to do that. So it helps fund us as far as revenue for transportation.
Well, I understand that now. I understand it more. I didn't understand what it was for, simply because I know we don't have any block grants here in this county that assist senior citizens in this county, other than through Hearts and our health department over there. And you do an excellent job. Don't get me wrong. You do an excellent job. But I see that there are more needs for seniors in this county. We don't have even a senior center other than the one in Coates, right?
We
And the
have
one in Littleton.
Golden Adventures down off Marsh
In the
Road.
western part of the county. Okay.
Yeah, there's Coates, Irwin, Anderson Creek, Johnsonville, and Henley Roberts. And,
Yeah, I know. I'm much aware of Henry Robinson and all.
Now, I would make a comment on that. As far as transportation, we're not transporting as many seniors to the senior centers as we once were. I mean, I hate to keep bringing COVID up, but before COVID, we transported a lot. And I remember in our meeting, it was Coates that said that they felt like a lot of those passengers had passed after COVID. So one of our focus areas, just because I got the platform in Hearts, is that we are advertising and hardly putting a lot of effort into attracting seniors back to us into transport. So, I mean, we have a pretty robust marketing plan as far as how we work through the senior centers and those type of things. But we're hoping to get some of those back. I mean, we don't want a lot of older folks, but that's the way that's what our main goal is, to make sure they have an opportunity to get to senior centers, medical, and everything else associated with healthy living.
Well, I understand that it's kind of hard to find people that are willing to volunteer for those jobs and all, but I'm not questioning what you're doing here in Harnett County. I think you do a tremendous job, and I want to thank the county for all what you all did for Marie Watson, the Johnson Lee and Harnett Foundation. I serve on that foundation. They have built and repaired many homes in this county, and I know Barry is fully aware of that. Mm-hmm. These are the kind of things I'm sitting up here questioning, because I think there's a serious need for it. I'm on the board now. We're looking for someone to be the director of that, so it'll still be visible in Harnett County, because there is certainly a need. More citizens. We have more citizens than we do the young people here in this county.
Well, I have a comment on that. So, we are in the middle or near the end of the USDA grant that we applied for in 23. Yeah. It was early 23. And we will come back to the board to kind of report on how well it went for us. We struggled to find contractors to begin with, but we're rolling now. USDA had a bump in the road with the federal government. We received emails that move forward, so we're spending that money now, hopefully to have 2 more. But we'll come back sometime in the summer to give you an update on that, and kind of internally figure out if we want to apply for more dollars. Because I will say that the working with other, not consultants, but other COGs, Harnett County is rich in inventory for homes that need to be repaired.
Yeah, we're rich. That's
very rich, and there's a very big need, and they like to spend a lot of money down here. So, USDA I think is so far has been a fairly simple grant to run, We've had a lot of help from facilities manager or director, Kenneth Snipes, with his expertise. And so we think it's a good program. It's simple. It's not SFR. It didn't take a lot of experience except for that. And I think that you'll see that SFR and all those things that see the inventory here in Harney County, but people would be willing to apply. In the past, we'd have applied and used consultants. The consultants are far and few now, that they're not interested in it because it doesn't really pay a lot of money out.
Well, Barry, I'm going to tell you I appreciate your work because I know there have been times I called you on this particular subject.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can get real.
And I don't have a final word on that particular subject. So, but
thank you for all that you do.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank the board.
Mr. Blevins, you didn't think you were going to have to interview for this position, did you?
I would say I've been a Harney County employee for a long time. I want to finish out.
Right. If there is no opposition, we'll go ahead and add Mr. Blevins for appointment to this board next week. Thank you. Thank you. County Manager's Report, Mr. Trout.
Thank you, Chairman. First item I want to cover is provided information in your packet related to our third quarter performance management report. We made a little bit of progress, but we have a lot to go in our last quarter. I think that sums it up fairly well. We're only at 19% completed as we finish the third quarter, so a lot of work to do. A lot of these items get concluded in the last quarter, so got a little bit of push to make. So review that when you have a chance. The other item I want to mention is that today is the day for our Sharon Harris exercise. We have a lot of individuals that are over emergency services that are conducting an exercise and making sure that we're prepared should there ever be an issue related to the nuclear plant. A number of our individuals obviously from emergency services and other partners that we have in the area that assist us when we have such an event that might occur. So that's going on today. That's all I have.
Do we have a need for closed session?
Yes, we do. I'd make a motion that the board go into closed session for the following purposes: to discuss certain economic development matters. This motion is made pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A4.
Second. I have a motion and a second to go into closed session. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Go into closed session. A motion in closed session to reconvene in open session. We'll call this meeting back to order and entertain a motion to recess with the joint work session with the Board of Education.
I make that motion to recess and reconvene at 11 with the Board of Education.
Second.
A motion and a second to recess and reconvene as a joint session with the Board of Education at 11 a.m.
County Board of Commissioners back to order.
And the Harnett County Board of Education is out of recess and back into the session. We're now in order.
At this time, we will now have a presentation for the 25-26 Harnett County School budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and this morning, we'd like to discuss on our list of discussion items is our Superintendent's 2025-26 Harnett Board of Education local funding request. And for that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Matthews. Superintendent Matthews.
Thank you, Chairman Powell, Chairman Mitchell, Commissioners, Ken Manager Trout, and county government leaders. You have a short handout there that you certainly can look at your convenience. There's a budget message there, if you'd like to read that. And then you'll see the current expense and capital request expense toward the end. And Mr. Andrew Cox, our Chief Financial Officer, is going to kind of walk us through that this morning. Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. I'll come around instead of sitting down.
You're gonna make me nervous standing behind you.
I'm not gonna stand behind you, I'll come out here, I'm gonna stand in front of you. Will you go ahead? Will you go ahead and move it to, yeah, there you go, perfect, thank you. As Mr. Matthews said, I am Andrew Cox, I'm Assistant Superintendent of Finance for other known as Finance Officer for Harnett County Schools. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you to the Commissioners for what you do. Appreciate the support that you guys give Harnett County Schools. And I'm also appreciative to Mr. Trout and his team, especially Ms. Honeycutt, Mr. Pat, and Mr. Coates sitting here. I think we have a great working relationship. We have conversations throughout the year related to finance. And I just want to point out that from my perspective, I've been in 3 different school districts, and that's not something I've had in those other districts. So I'm very appreciative to that work relationship that we do have with the team here in Harnett County. So first, I just want to kind of give a little recap of the 24-25 year. In the budget, the Commissioners approved. You guys provided $30,804,606 for operations for Harnett County Schools, $1.4 million for capital improvement, and $1,021,528 for additional capital outlay projects. In that, you provided roughly $2.5 million of new funding in 24-25. I just want to kind of give you a breakdown of how we allocated that $2.5 million. Of that, a little more than $900,000. Of that, roughly $900,000 went to school-based administrator supplements and teacher supplements. Our supplements are flat rate currently right now. It's based on years of experience. We have 4 tiers for our supplements. Right now, the range for those supplements is 5.8% to 8.5%, with the average supplement being 7.1%. The next allocation was approximately $850,000. Of that, $2.5 million went to classified salary increases. As you know, we have some state-funded employees and some locally funded employees. The state provided a 3% raise to all employees, so we matched that for our locally funded employees because they don't choose what the source of funding is. And then we, on top of that, provided 1% additional increase to all our classified employees from the money that the county gave us. We commissioned a salary study last year with Pontifex, the same company that the county did in a few years previous. Their recommendation was to increase our classified salaries by 8% so we could be competitive with other school districts surrounding us and other county and government organizations. So we took 1% of that, one step towards that 8% with the money that you gave us last year. Roughly $650,000 of that $2.5 million went to charter schools, as required by general statute. Charter schools are growing, we're growing, but as part of the general statute, Any money that the county gives us, we have to take that and come up with a per pupil amount for all students, whether they're in Harnett County schools or residents of Harnett County that attend a charter school. And then we have to take that per pupil and give to those charter schools. So roughly $650,000 new money went to charter schools of that. And then roughly $60,000 of that $2.5 million went to increase coaching supplements, and I'll talk a little more about the coaching supplements in this year's request. So moving on to the 25-26 budget request that we see here. If you want to go back in and highlight that's perfect. The first line you see, we start with the amount of county appropriations from the current year, which was $30,804,606 when we're building our budget. That next item there, you see, as you know, we lost $5.7 million in low wealth funding from the state. We've been having continuing conversations with our legislative delegation regarding that, trying to get that funding restored. I may not be in the majority here, but I'm trying to remain optimistic that they may take action and restore that funding before the end of the year. Don't know that, but I'm trying to remain optimistic on that. You commissioners have took action and said that if the state does not restore that, you will fill that gap for this year, and we'll have conversations going forward from there. And I've been having conversations with Ms. Honeycutt and Ms. McFadden around that, and we'll continue to do that if the General Assembly does not take action to restore that funding. Those are those first two items. Under the current expense expansion, that first item you see there, $789,000, is the pass-through to charter schools for any increased funding that the county will provide to us. We then have to take, again, that per pupil amount and give to the charter schools for their growth. Right now, we have roughly 26 charter schools that have Harnett County residents in them that we're paying. And we anticipate that bill next year to be $2.7 million that we have to give to the charter schools. It comes off the top of what you guys give us, and then we can then operate with. The next item you see there is the $66,000, which is additional 10% increase in coaching supplements. I said I'll talk about that a little more. Last year we had a request to increase coaching supplements by 20%. Based on the funding provided, we weren't able to meet that 20%. So this is the second step in that supplement request to provide additional 10% coaching supplement to help us be competitive to coaching supplements for other surrounding districts. And I also note that it's been quite a few years before those supplement have changed. So last year was the first step, or this year was the first step in that. So that's the second line there. The third line you see there is a request of 4 additional curriculum specialists targeting low-performing schools and performance in schools. Obviously, we're a school system with the goal of boosting student achievement. That comes at a cost of approximately $387,280. The next item there is a summary of the next 4 lines. In the budget message, Mr. Matthews talks about our priority is investing heavily in our people. The next 4 line items do that. The first one is $5,157,771, which allows us to move our supplements from a flat rate that we currently have in 4 tiers to a percentage base. It will get us to 12% for all our classified staff. And as I mentioned, right now our supplements range from 5.8%, but you're going to think this is odd, for our more experienced teachers, to 8.5% for our less experienced. The reason the less experienced more is because their salary is lower, and that flat rate, the way it's structured, their percentage is really higher than the more experienced are. And what we did this year, of the monies that you did give us for those supplements, we did increase those tiers, the higher tiers for the more experienced teachers, by a greater percentage than we did the lower tiers to reward them, or try to attempt to reward them this year in that supplement increase. The next line item you see there is $92,253. That is specific to our school-based administrators. That would increase their supplement by $1,000. The next line item is $396,533, which is a 3% increase for our classified staff, as well as any increase benefit-related items or hospitalization and retirement rates that the state increases for all those employees that our local employees are also part of, so we need to increase that as well. And that fourth item is based on the classified salary study from Pontifex, trying to get us to 8%. This is another 4% increase or request to move us closer to the 8% that they recommended at a cost of $2,301,365,000. So based on those items, you see there, total expansion over our current expense is $9,190,687,000 for current expense for fiscal year 25-26. The next grouping is related to capital outlay projects. That first item you see there is $70,000 for a visitor management system. That will allow us to go to a uniform visitor management system and a car router line system for all schools. When parents have different systems, when they have kids in different schools, it's kind of frustrating to know which system you're going to. And also, going to this system will provide additional safety and security because it can do things like read license plates, to find out who that person is, send notifications to the school, to notify them if somebody really shouldn't be there on campus as well. So that's the benefit of that uniform visitor management system in the request there. The next grouping is your Tier 1 projects, which are more of our immediate need, short-term projects. That first line item there is $190,401,352. We'll talk about that more on the school facility needs. Those are our short-term facility projects there, but this is just, I mentioned it here because it's a short-term need there. The next items are more of our capital outlay, maintenance type projects at $1.2 million. I won't go through each of the lines there. You can see them broken down by different categories, the plumbing, flooring, roofing, and so on there at $1.277 million. So total short-term capital needs are $191,748,352 there. The next grouping is our Category 2, or our equipment items there. Again, I won't walk through each one of those. You can see them listed out there, but that request is $378,434. And then the third category is our vehicles, replacing some of our aging vehicles. There at a request of $929,924 for those vehicles. So total current expense expansion request is $9,190,000. Current expense plus expansion will be $39,995,293. And then the total immediate capital need is $193,056,710. So that's all on the current expense side there. Now if we pull up the other side, the capital needs, which will be at perfect. So there you go. Thank you. So the first grouping there are currently approved projects that you guys have approved, and we're very appreciative of that. The Flatwoods Middle School notice to proceed is going out today. They're open for 2027. Linden Shawtown Elementary School Gym Addition and the School Nutrition Freezer Project. All those are current approved projects that are in various states of progress right now. The next grouping is that $190,401,352 I mentioned previously. These are our short-term facility needs that we mentioned. Some of them have been mentioned previously. Our school transportation facility at $15 million, the Highland High School. We have gone out for requests previously for school-based capital needs. Haven't gotten that need out there at the Highland area. $100 million. Possible partnership with Central Carolina Community College on Harnett Early College CTE High School. Continuing to have talks of that, $30 million for that. Triton High School auxiliary gym, the only high school that doesn't have an auxiliary gym right now currently, $10 million. And then you're aware of Louis Creek Elementary need a replacement. They're at $35 million. So those are our short-term capital needs. Our little longer term, 3 to 4 years at Lafayette year-round gym renovations, had $1 million, and then additional renovations needed at Harnett Central High School, Triton, and Western Harnett. We'll have to look at what those are and what the actual cost of those are. We want to put that out there as needs there. A little longer term, 5 to 6 years, the Northwest Harnett area, another elementary school there, Southwest elementary school in the Southwest area, $41 million, and then North Harnett primary, additional renovations will be needed in that time frame. And then our longer term projects in Northwest Harnett area middle school, we do have the land for that based on the Flatwoods at $85 million, which by 7 years I'm sure that will increase a good bit from that. That's the estimate we have right now. Western Harnett area middle school, $85 million. And then as other renovations come up, the needs there. So those are the facility needs that we have, short-term, long-term there. So just kind of a recap for our current expense request, $39 million. Back to that, where was that? 39,995, 293, and short term or immediate capital 193, 056, 710. Happy to take any questions from me, Mr. Matthews. Turn it back over to Mr. Matthews if he wants to say anything else.
If you will, pull the slide back up for the local teacher supplement and the classified staff. This is going, you're saying this will get the local teacher supplement 12%?
So this will change our structure from a flat rate that we have the 4 tiers, and it'll pay all certified teachers a 12% salary supplement.
Where, and understand, I've been on both boards, I know the problems we have with this, but what I don't want to do is throw money at it and it not make us competitive. Now, I understand we're not going to compete with the People's Republic of Wake County, but the rest of it, is it going to make us, if we did that, would it make us competitive with the surrounding communities?
I'll have to pull up the exact supplement amount, but if it will not make us competitive, it will make us much more competitive.
Okay.
It will take significantly increase the supplements.
The classified staff.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Jagger brought this up the other week, and I completely concur with him. What I don't want to see is John Doe, who's a grass mower with the county, and John Doe, who's a grass mower with the school system, being $2,000 difference, and we're robbing from one another. Because that happened when I was on the board. And so if we make any adjustments, we need to go back and say, okay, is this enough, or is it too much, or what are we going to do? That's some of the information I want to know about.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what, and I don't know if they went down to that grass mower level, but Pontifex, who did our study, did the county study as well, and they looked at government organizations as well as school systems locally surrounding us, and that was their recommendation, that 8%. So I think it would bring things in line or close in line, but we can certainly study that and look at that one.
Another thing you mentioned on your, I'm sorry, did you have it?
Just one thing, I think if y'all can coordinate with Brent, because we want to make sure, as Bill was saying, that if this amount of money puts them above the county employees, or it doesn't get them to the county employees, we want them to be the same classification money-wise.
Right.
So
So
we're not trading employees.
Exactly. And I think that would be our goal as well.
Because what we don't want to do is throw money at the problem and then turn around and have to do this again.
create a problem
They
elsewhere.
create a problem with the
Understood.
county and then back and forth. We want to get them to the same level. And then the teacher supplements, I think, I definitely wanting to make sure that we get the supplements where they've got to be at to, I'm not worried about competing with other counties. I just want to give them what they deserve. I mean, I want to make sure we're doing what we need to do.
So something that I mentioned last year, and I think we as a Board of Education mentioned last year, was taking a tiered approach to increasing our supplements. Year one, get us up to 12, year two, get us up to 15, year three, get us up to 18. So ultimately a 3% increase each year to get us up to that competitive 18%. So does it even come close to Wake County? Absolutely not. But the difference in it is much more manageable, and it allows people to come to work for us, where we create I like to say, a welcoming environment and an excellent environment to teach in versus, like Commissioner Morris said, Wake County. But that gets us much more competitive, and getting us up to 12% is a great start.
And these are all very important for our request here, but we'd like to put particular emphasis, or at least I would, on this request for these supplements, both the teacher supplement and the coaches supplement as well. We've lost several good teachers, but especially joining counties who pay a higher supplement, and this puts us in the ballpark. We may not be able to compete, like Mr. Marsh said, with weight, but this puts us in the ballpark, and we have a good school system, a lot to offer. And this just helps us, financially help attract, and more importantly, probably retain good teachers that we're currently losing. The same goes for coaching supplements. For many years, they've been way below the joining counties and so forth. And once again, this helps us both to recruit, and retain good coaches who are not nearly as compensated as what they should be with one another.
The CTE high school thing, are we still trying to do the grant again? I know we failed the last 2 or 3 years, but.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
We will.
All right. One other thing that jumps out, I realize I'm jumping across the board here, but in your capital needs list, school nutrition freezer cooler price.
Yes, sir.
Will your child nutrition dollars pay for that? I'm assuming when I was on the board, there was a significant reserve there.
So there are stipulations around that. They can pay for the freezer itself. And Mr. Pierce said, I think they can pay for the freezer itself, but can't pay for any of the construction or anything around that. So they will be able to pay for some of it. And Ms. Brown is aware of that and is willing to contribute that. We're working with DPI, school nutrition folks, on that to make sure that we're doing it in the appropriate way, that we can use the school nutrition dollars for at least that portion of the project.
Okay, so that was just food for thought.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Are there any other questions or discussion items among the school board that you may have, or questions from the committee?
I've just got some comments that we as a Board of Education, and I feel like I speak for everyone when we say, the 9 we'll call it 9.2 billion, it's a need. It's not just a request. We very much need this funding to get ahead, or to at least start catching up. We're really not getting ahead with the 9.2, but we would appreciate any and every avenue you could take this on. As a couple former Board of Education members sitting up here among the commissioners, they very much understand the needs of what we have. We would appreciate if you would fund our request.
Any other questions or comments? I'd just like to say, first of all, we greatly appreciate the board, County Manager Trout and the Warren County Board of Commissioners. You've been really good to us in past years. We just greatly appreciate that very much. Just like to ask it for your consideration for this request as well. We greatly appreciate your generosity. Thank you. With that, I'll turn it over to Chairman Denton.
Thank you, sir. Well, I really do appreciate the relationship that the Board of Commissioners, this Board of Education, are having with each other in the years past. It's always kind of been either a breakdown in communication or just trying to cross the bridges together. So I really feel like we're spearheading along the right direction together. So if there's any other questions or comments from the Board of Commissioners?
I'll entertain at this time and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Harlan Board of Education adjourns.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Entertain a motion from the Board of
So moved.
Commissioners. Second. Motion to second to adjourn, we are adjourned.